you want to sit at the table, pull up a chair. Welcome to Let's Bring It to the Table, where we talk about how to enhance our lives by addressing issues that specifically impact our life. Today's topic is eyes wide open shut. Let me repeat, eyes wide open shut. We're going to have a discussion about the movie Alice today, um, which was a very delightful movie. What did you think about it, Alois?
The movie was awaken. It was an eye check, eye open, and it let me see a lot of things that I thought was reality is now reality, and it's gave me a bright idea. You think things are still the same? It's not the same. It is happened all over by Alice, and she brought the movie a clear classification of what's going on now. It's still going on, and she made it out because she made it out of the woods where she was enslaved in.
Mm-hmm.
And she went back and got her family also. So it was incredible movie. I can't get most of the detail because I don't want to be the spoiler of the movie, but it's a good movie to watch, and I really enjoyed it. Even I had all my kids to watch it, so they watched it, and they were very pleased with it.
Well, it's not a spoiler. If they didn't watch it, then shame on them, because that's what the
Mhm.
topic is about for today. I really enjoyed the movie. It wasn't your typical um, modern day movie that they play today in slavery and everything. This really
Right.
actually happened in real life. I was probably about 2 years old when this happened back in 1973.
73.
And I mean, for that to be going on just that long, people just do not understand.
Mm-hmm.
There was something that was said on American Gods by what's that guy's name? Otis. I know I might not be saying his name right or whatever, but he was saying something to the fact that this is what they do. They destroy.
Yep.
They destroy. And that's just to sum that up. They destroy. And so by any means necessary, they will keep us down and never let us be how we are supposed to be in this world, what we were created
True.
to be. And it's
Yes.
and it's really is a sad thing. But my problem before we go into the movie is the reason why I picked the topic eyes wide open shut is because I really truly believe that the majority of the people especially my people, are walking dead. It's like you walk around here, and you act like it doesn't affect you. Things going on every day. Somebody child get missing, and you saying the child being fast. You're not even help looking for the child. The mother is at the store and somebody kidnapped her and she's found dead, and it's just typical. And it doesn't matter who kills her. It's just like we care, but we don't care. We care more about the
Right.
other people than we care about our own people. We'll cry about their child being kidnapped or somebody dying like they dying and stuff, and won't even shed a tear for our own. And I think that's really, really sad that we have come to in this modern time. It's 2022. Why are we acting this way when
True.
we can't get along? But anyway, that's for another story. But Alice was a very intriguing movie. Like I said, 1973. This happened for real. But before I got some little history to give you based off all this because I don't do nothing for no reason. So there was a part in the movie that really irked me.
What
Um,
was that?
the part that irked me, man, you got the glasses on. All right, Matrix. The
I
part
hope
that
you come
irked
out.
several parts, but the one that irked me the most is the one when they were getting married. Cedric got his glasses on,
Yeah.
looking cool. That's from the part that irked me the most is when they were in the house and they were getting married.
Mm-hmm.
And the slave owner shot his gun and they cut the light off. I'm like, why?
Mm-hmm.
You know me, I'm like, why? He know y'all up. What you cut the light off for? I was like, do y'all really is this the type of mindset of fear that we had back then, and I think we do have it for today.
Mm-hmm.
We do.
Look at how we
Yeah.
do on the job when a supervisor or a manager, well, I don't, but I know people that do, that when a
Go to my
supervisor
seat.
or manager come by, they'll stop the conversation and go sit their butt down. Why?
Mm-hmm.
They already saw you. What the I mean, why?
Yep.
It don't make sense to me. But that kind of bothered me because I relate that to what I see us do. What did you think, one of y'all?
What did
Yeah,
I
they
think
end
about that scene right there? Where the
Uh-huh.
lights cut off, or the movie itself?
The lights, when the lights cut off, when the guy shot the gun and the lights went off, they were getting married,
Yeah,
I didn't get
they were
that.
getting married.
Yeah.
and the
The
lights
lights went off. They heard the gunshot went off,
and they cut the lights
and
off.
he
Yeah.
already knew that they was getting married.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing is simply show that how we react in certain situation. To me, I can go back to my own what I have done in my past life
Mm-hmm.
when I was a kid, and when I'm seeing that there, my father got on me. I was down the street, and he drove up in somebody else's car.
I had
I
it.
dropped 3 fences, get back to the porch, sit it, got back in the house, sitting, watching TV. And you try to figure out. He told me never do that. You look like a fool, an idiot, doing stuff like that. You're already caught. I already seen you. And now you went through all that. And imagine if somebody else seen me. I was a show for them. And being in the corporate world set, a lot of times I look there and start laughing at people how silly they does. And it's a lesson that I learned in an early age. And that's set of going back in the movie, and the reason I does it, and the reason they did it, it was based off of fear. Fear of what may happen if they keep the lights on. Fear if he realized all of them was in a house, in that little house, that shed. Fear concerning about what they was doing. Fear if they got caught where they ain't got no business, they supposed to be elsewhere. Because lights supposed to be off. So they supposed to be asleep. It was just like a prison. Lights off. And you had lights on.
Mm-hmm.
And the sheriff caught you.
Yeah. And I think another thing was because that white man was jealous of that girl too. Because he was messing with her also. He didn't
Jealous. He
want her to have
wanted. Yeah.
anything.
Jealous.
It was,
He
yeah,
wanted that
it
girl.
sounded like jealousy, but he owned her.
That's what I'm saying. He
That
didn't
was
want
his
he
property.
Yeah, he
didn't
can do
want to
whatever
have
he
that
wants with
man.
his property.
And you look at it, a lot of people treat women like they are their property.
Mm-hmm.
And even to the day in modern time, you still have those situations in religion sets out to make women their own property.
Yep, true.
So it's just moving along in the movie, and as the movie developed, I know it didn't develop in a way that Antebellum, another movie, what it's catered off of, but it's less. It's more concentrated on different sects of the movie itself instead of the slave, and it had a complete balance of each one of them. So
There were scenes in that movie where it showed you the battle of war of the mindset.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when his dad was sitting up there and he told him about his grandfather when the guy came out the sky that looked like them, and they end up killing him and everything. He was interested in knowing what happened, but it was something that wasn't supposed to be told. And his daddy was in such a fear. And I understand it's a fear of protection. You don't when you've been broken down as a man or a woman, if you've been broken down, everything is done in survival mode. And when that
Mhm.
boy went over there, and him being a young man, he know
Mm-hmm.
of all this, but he had an aching in him that he know this ain't what it's supposed to be. He wanted out, and so he went to digging up the grave and found the lighter that had Johnson on it. And his dad was in fear,
Right.
but they wanted out. Him and Alice wanted out, even though the others were like, they'll kill us. They
Mm-hmm.
wanted to live. They didn't want to live like that, but they wanted to live. But they weren't there. They really wanting to risk their lives to live. I've always been told something. You got to be as Black people in this life that we live, based off our histories past. You got to have something to be worth
Yeah.
dying for.
There
Not just
was
for your
yeah.
children, not just for your household, but we're talking about us as a society of Blacks. It's got to be worth dying for,
Yeah.
especially when you're trying to build.
Yeah. I
That's
think they were
true.
more comfortable.
That's true. You get used to different settings, and even in business and in the business and everything, that you get in a certain setting around the wrong type of people with the wrong type of mindset. They the right people, but their mindset is the wrong mindset
Yes.
what you need to operate in. There's no they in a mindset of survival. And if you actually look uh at it over time, that was not the first time they tried to escape. Everybody tried to escape, end up dead. Who they seen that came in that had no business there came up dead. So even that they knew that something else was out there, if in their hearts, the new ones, and it's the same way we dealing with the newer generation of today of the non-fear factor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and even when working in civil rights movement myself, those fear factors was in hold. Even when them leaving that type of livelihood, and you leaving a type of livelihood, Sonya could contest for that. Uh, Even when I move or people move north or went elsewhere, they were always saying, Johnny can protect you here. You stay there here, he can protect you. And that's how they looked at him, as a protector
Mm-hmm.
and also a beater. And they were afraid of him. So they wanted to survive. Even when he was in that setting, it was a survival mode, a protection mode. You can look at the other, protected them. He had a whole
Mm-hmm.
set of people. Even in the marriage, if you even notice the marriage vow, it started off, it didn't say the end part, didn't say until death do his part. Do his part. So they marriage, they did that. The slave did that based because they knew they may be taken away from each other
Mm-hmm.
and never seen anybody
Mm-hmm.
that they self anymore. So there's a whole bunch of things in there that we need ourselves to think about, or how we deal with people of our kind and educate them about a better livelihood.
But
Because all through that, when they was on the farm, they always was told, you don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. And they didn't want them to read. So she's on the as well on somebody reading.
She
Mm-hmm.
They
was
mother didn't want
reading,
to read.
but he said, I taught you to read
For
to
my
me
entertainment.
Yes,
For
he
for
him.
my
did.
entertainment,
Yeah.
not for
Mm-hmm.
your understanding.
Right.
But
Yeah.
she was bright. Like, we are bright people. And as you go further in the movie, you'll see how bright and
Yes.
smart Alice is.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people wondering why that wasn't the first time she tried to escape. She tried to escape when she was younger, around 14.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't work. But this time she ain't had nothing to lose.
No, she
Yep.
didn't.
Her husband's dead. And when a person ain't got nothing else to lose, this is a dangerous person. And they
It
wanted to get something at the
Mhm.
beginning. He didn't make it. I want to make it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
she
she
was
did.
willing.
She
Yes, she
did.
did.
So you
And I
have to
thought that was
fight.
fun.
You got to fight what you want for. You may have to leave people
Yep.
and come
Yeah.
back. I think we
Yes,
did
she
a
did.
Who Moved My Cheese.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's a Who Moved My Cheese movement.
Yep.
Her cheese will move.
Yes.
Mhm.
Somebody
Yep.
moved her freedom
Yep.
and never
Yeah.
brought her to her. And she was searching. The place was
Mhm.
like a maze. 114 acres. That's a lot of land to be moving through.
Mhm.
And you know what though? The one thing I did like about that movie, with that part which you just spoke about, her and her husband, and they were as one in that. That was the epitome of, I mean, the best of a romantic scene than Romeo and Juliet. I mean, she was in
Yeah.
a, say what?
I said, oh yeah, especially at the
Mhm.
end.
Yeah, because he when he whatever he talked, she understood it, and
Mhm.
she'll say what she had to say, and he understood it, and it was all on the same page. They both
Right.
wanted out. They wanted their family out, and they were about to do it. Even when that guy grabbed her, and she told him, "Run,
Right.
just
Mm-hmm.
go, run."
Yeah, the
I
connection.
just thought that was a really romantic piece right there, because she was willing to take whatever she was gonna have, they were gonna dish out, in order for him to make it where he needed to go. Because if he made it, that means he would come back and do whatever. But she made it, and she came
Mhm.
back and did what she had to do. But I feel like this, in this movie with Kiki really did a good job with um, showing that because she learned how to read, she did understand. Even
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
though she had to
Yes,
dumb
she
it
did.
down, but when she got out and they were about to put her in the crazy house,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that Carmen came and got her
Yeah.
and took her home. And even though he didn't really understand and thought that she was just a little bit Betsy,
Mhm.
he still stood there with her in what she had to do. His books and read it. That's when she found out that slavery had been abolished.
Honestly, yes.
Just to think that all this time, and you in your 20s or 30s, and you've been suffering in this manner, and to find out that it's been over a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
True. That is so true. That's dramatic.
You
Yeah.
it's a lot of things that we have been brought up to in today's life.
Mm-hmm.
And you get upset, you get mad, you get frustrated, your emotions overwhelm you. It's just like a kid finding out Santa Claus. It's just like a kid finding out Santa Claus is not real
Mm-hmm.
on their own. And they
Yeah,
look at the parent.
Mhm.
they are liars. I can't trust them.
Yeah.
And we don't understand the damage we actually, but they teach us in school to let a child have imagination. Child got a bigger imagination without lying to them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They sure do. They really
Exactly.
do.
So
Yeah.
why you want to add in mistrust to your child
Exactly.
or
And you
give
shouldn't
them a
want that.
false hope? You better not cry. I'm telling you, if Santa Claus is coming to town, he knows if you're good or bad. Who in the house? I ain't seen no white man walk through the house, not one bit. I'm sorry to say that. Only person who knows good or bad is my parents.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And I
And
already
our
been disciplined
and our
by him.
parents didn't even get down like that. They didn't teach us that foolery. My daddy said he'll never let a white man, whoever other man that don't live under that house, take credit for nothing that he gonna do.
That's
And
right.
he
I agree.
Right. Because they told me about Santa Claus, and our house didn't have no chimney. I would look for the chimney. How he gonna come to the ghetto?
that part. If
So
you
the
think
whole
about
thing,
it, as you living in the country, you almost 2 miles off the road. How he gonna get out here?
That is so true.
you know, right? And you start thinking about that in a kid. I have an analytical mind, And I start analyzing that at a young age. I don't even think I was 10 years old and put a two to two together. None of that stuff made any sense.
None. Yep.
And that's just like of the day. If you look at it, how people act about the information we receive, even you telling them that slaves still exist. There's over 200 million people that are enslaved right now. And you're probably going to say where. They get free. They don't have no rights in prison. The Constitution itself says everything else except for a crime, that you could be in industrial and slavery. So these people that goes up are slaves, and they use the same reason why they didn't want to get rid of the slaves when they were wanted to abolish the slavery, because it would bankrupt the South if we got to pay them a raise. And right now, if they paid them a minimum, a wage, a decent wage for the work we do, it will bankrupt the system. The
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
So you want free labor. So I can bring somebody here. If I want my neighborhood clean, I could place an order and bring the prisoners down that been good boys. Good boy. Boy is a white man word. Yeah, I know, Michael. But at the same time, even that it is that we need to wake up. We got so many people that is not educated. When he went to the Funk and Wagner encyclopedia, anybody know about that encyclopedia? I do. We had one, a whole set. And he used the word knowledge. This is knowledge.
I think Dad and them probably still got that set at that house.
He don't have the complete set because I got the Black American book.
Oh, you took it? Oh.
Yeah, it's locked away. It's a safekeeping. Locked away.
Oh my God.
Yep.
So
they're gonna get you.
But you know, with this movie and with everything that she was learning, and then she got to watching TV and she knew how to dress herself and she fixed her hair up and she looked like a sister soldier for real. So
she did.
And she was willing to go back by herself because she knew what he was and what he used to do, and she didn't understand why. He's like he gave up. Yeah. And I can get it sometime when you fighting for something and then they arresting us for nothing, putting us in jail. Just like they claimed that the Black Panthers were terrorists. How is they terrorists if they set up a system that y'all call WIC now, and they were providing for Black children to make sure they was eating every day. They was getting the education. They was clothing them. How is that being a terror? Oh, it's a terrorist because we were only doing it for our own.
It was a terrorist because we wasn't going by their laws. We were going by their laws, but we used their laws against them, and they didn't like that. They didn't like in 1970, I liked it, even that the true story of Miss Miller in I believe it was 1961.
Stick with the movie. We gonna get there. Don't do that. Don't do that.
No more talking.
I'm gonna land my plane. Now you see why I told you that I want to let you take point.
That don't make no sense. Okay. Yeah, I know. We got about 2 more minutes, and then we're gonna go into the history part of it. And then I'll let you talk about Miss Miller. Okay. But you know, on the ending, it kind of, I didn't like the way it ended. I thought it should have been more, but it spoke of just how it really is with us. It's like we've been told for years, get over it. No matter what's been happening, what happened to our great grandparents, we're supposed to just get over it, be happy, and keep moving. But this man really said, I never told you couldn't leave, but you killed some of us when we tried to go. Yes. You beat us when we tried to go. Just because you didn't say we couldn't leave, your actions showed us that we could not leave. And you know, and she went in there and she dealt with him.
She dealt with Wife too.
Dealt with him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she dealt with everything. Yep, she
She sure
did.
did.
I'm not afraid of you. This is not about you. You ain't got
Right.
nothing to say. It's about me.
Yeah.
And we have to look at that. A lot of times when we stand up for me, I'm being selfish. I'm being disrespectful.
You being crazy.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
crazy. But
Yeah.
I'm talking about me,
Yeah.
of how I feel. How I feel.
Don't start, because now you finna be belligerent. You're gonna be hostile, aggressive. How many
Yes.
more words I gotta bring? So don't do it. Don't talk about you and your feelings and how you want to be treated. Because in this world, you're the one in the wrong.
Why I gotta be in the wrong?
Because that's what the world say.
That's what the world say, but I'm not of this world. I live in
That's
this
right.
world, but I'm not of this world. And
So that
we
means
gotta
you're not the
remember,
walking
right.
dead. You're not
Huh?
one of the walking dead.
no, I'm not one of the walking dead and don't want to be one of the walking dead. Because that part
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
was when she recognized and showed her that
Yes.
who she is. I'm a powerful woman. I'm a educate. Don't demean me than saying that you meant the best for me. How do you mean the best for me and you know what's going on and you left me? You were just like the other one.
Yes.
You know how to talk. You know how to hide it. All them things what they say, and we see it every day.
Yeah.
I don't want the
And you know,
movie to be taken.
anybody can be a great actress and show fake love when
Right.
all they're doing is trying to manipulate you and take from you.
Right.
If I want to show you fake love, we do that enough to ourselves.
Yep.
Even that the churches, it says also okay for me to go that way. Even that the churches of the day trying to teach them how to better socialize instead of having that backwood mental behavior into today's society.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see that you have other people that turn around and treat you differently more now than they used to, and realize that what they was doing was wrong. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people feels that there's no need for the movies, but there is a need for the movies. Pastor Letter said we are considered less than remember.
That's Pat. Mm-hmm. Pat said we are
Pat.
considered less than human. Remember?
Thank you. And we had to recognize what we actually is. We ain't dumb, and she's trying to make her look dumb. We ain't nutsy, when she try to make it. But when she starts standing up for who she is,
she's combative.
It's time to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can't handle this woman.
Yeah.
Because she was released from the visible collar, dog chain around her neck.
Mm-hmm.
It was no longer there. She was no longer like the circle elephant that been treated with a tie around her their back leg. And then a big old animal got a rope that he can snap. But he been mentally trained to act the way. And she had broken that rope, that mental rope that was holding her. And she know that she already told, I will get you.
Yes.
But that little boy needs somebody to take her.
Yes, she did.
And she
I
did.
like
But
it.
you know what's so funny? We show compassion to them, but they don't show compassion to us.
No, they don't.
It's always a reason behind whatever they do.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a gain for them. And it is sad that we, as Black people, we're starting to do that a lot more than when it used to be done.
Lois, what was your part that you liked?
When she went back to the house and got that man.
Oh
Wow.
man,
He reaped what he sowed. And he
he whipped.
reaped what he sowed.
He
I was
didn't
so happy.
repeat anything.
I was so happy. Yes, that was the best part of the movie. She got all of them. She even slapped the lady at the restaurant. Yeah.
Mhm.
I thought you would turn into Pam Grier.
Well, she almost could have been.
I
Oh,
thought this is a little black coffee.
yes, yes.
Attitude.
She had some coffee in her.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes, she did.
She did.
That
Yes.
was my best. That was my favorite part. When she went back and got him and did the way he did her, she did the way back to him.
Yeah.
He got what he deserved.
And what was that what we was talking about earlier that we were gonna explain?
The guy that was falling from that came out the sky in a parachute. And the guy knew.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing.
What's your thought concerning about that? Is why they killed him?
Why he killed him? Why he came in the fall? Didn't tell anybody to the end of the story of the movie, almost to the end of the movie.
Pat
Why?
Pat said she was glad that he didn't leave her at the hospital.
Right.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
Yeah,
too.
that was a good one too.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. It was something that they didn't want to talk about because
he didn't look like them. He looked like them, but he wasn't dressed like them.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't, and you know, for them to be the way that they are, they didn't understand why his clothes was different from them, and his mannerism was different.
His mannerism and everything was different. If you notice, because everybody had a plot and plan how to work them in the movie.
Google Pam Grier and the movie Black Coffee. I believe that came from LaRaz because he's a Pam Grier fan. If he could, he probably would marry her. So yeah,
you ain't old enough.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, so don't worry, LaRaz, I'm not old enough either.
You know, y'all, like I said, there that plantation, it says Killianana plantation. They showed that slavery remained on that plantation until the 1970s, which in actuality, that's the name. They call it the Killianana because that's the town in Georgia, the area in Georgia from where this plantation, the original name was called the Waterford Plantation. So before I get into it and start telling y'all about that, did y'all know that they had another one in Louisiana doing almost basically the same thing? And they kept these people, and this was in I think it was the San Francisco Tribune that brought this up. It was the 1960s. Now, Cedric, you could get to talking about her once I say this. It was another Waterford plantation in Louisiana that had done the same thing in the 1960s. You go ahead and talk about your girl, Miss Miller.
Oh, Miss Miller, I was going to be brief and stuff. A lot of people think this, when Miss Miller came about concerned about this movie, it was during the civil rights movement. When she, at the point with Martin Luther King, all the black civil rights leaders was being active and we was the development. Even that we still have the social behavior of mindset of slave type mindset of how we act and move and maneuver. And the only thing they're going to change that. Miss Miller recognized when she came out from that plantation, you can imagine the shock of how that somebody keep all this hidden. They kept the planes hidden, the plantation. Yes, you got places where the planes just about don't fly. And people think about all these things that going on. Yes, you got planes that planes don't too much fly over. everywhere. So you don't have that visitation. Yes, to keep up, to get my free labor. Yes, I put up a front. In the same way they were put in the front. They neighbors was in the show, even the neighbors had the same game going on. And said they in his people at the neighbor plantation, family was dying out, slowly dying. And that family that was there at the other plantation, that they were still striving. It was more. You got a family dying and doing the same thing. Even to the day that you will find out that a lot of us were slaves and didn't actually realize we're still in slavery. Now, help me out on this, Sonya, concerned about Mississippi legislation.
You was a runaway slave.
I'm a runaway. Hey, y'all, I'm a runaway slave.
My parents were runaway slaves. You sure was. You were a runaway slave. You know you didn't have no business going to Michigan as a young boy.
That's all right. If I and even leaving my taskmaster in the fields where they belong, free labor, and the more I think about it, that even that I worked in the pea field, the cotton field, the butter bean field, picking peas and butter beans. Did you realize that a lot of us was doing some type of sharecropping that actually got us in the predicament? And that's the same way that Miss Miller family got in that predicament for sharecropping, and every time they supposed to make more than enough to put them in the black, that they will always constitute them be in the red. Try next year.
That's how they kept them, because of
they
that.
Kept in that
and
way.
Those were the ones who knew they didn't have the money or the means to leave, and they manipulated the situation to keep them. Especially in Mississippi. That's why they were. The article of Black News stated that these people were enslaved until like 1963, 69, almost. It's really sad, that
it is
comes to that you manipulate, and people don't even understand that with the manipulation, how things could have been better for them. And we know where Marks, Mississippi is, in Clarksdale, Mississippi. Those were a couple of the places where people were being, held, because if you left, because in Mississippi, you blinked wrong, they would have put your butt in jail. And that's what would have happened. If they had left, then the slave owner could have said they were stealing, and they've been gone to jail. So they were going to get them back anyway.
Right. Sure was, because legally, by the law, that you could be placed in slavery for a crime.
Yep.
So you broke the law. The white man, the guy said you broke the law. He asked you what you want us to do, sending him back to my place to work. The law said we're going to put you in captivity for 15 years for stealing. And you're going to work there for 15 years for your punishment. And you stuck there. And ain't nothing you can do legally, because that's what the law states. And a lot of people don't recognize that even that we fighting for our rights today, that we doesn't do a good enough job to withhold our rights today, because we act like it's just a normal thing. And this is something that you constantly have to work for. If you want to work for something and don't want to be part of the system, you need to stop sleeping with the system, with the substance of the system. Because what we all want.
I don't want the mule, but I want them 40 acres.
Because we want freedom. We want freedom.
Right.
All of us want to be free. But the system in itself keep you in what? in a slavery type. In a slavery type. If
And
I don't get
to me, they're willing to do it to their own, and like they used
right,
to. You know, they wouldn't do it to their own. It's called a job. They
Yeah.
tell us what time to get up. They tell us what time. They pay us what they think we value. You know, and when the
True.
COVID was over with and everybody was able to go back to work, they said we were some lazy bunch of black people because we were making money on our own. We did what we know to do.
That's
Right.
right.
Get out there and
That's
make
right.
money without having to be bothered.
and the thing about it, a lot of us didn't know there was a recession. Because we already been didn't have nothing.
But
so it's something new.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Somebody say something about Parchment Prison in Mississippi still has a field detail. Yes, they do.
Yeah, they do. I'm sorry, I didn't see the post. Pat said this is what is happening to the Asians now in nail shops. They owe money just to come over here. Okay, well, that's on them. They own doing it to them. You know, I hate to be like that, y'all. I'm sorry, but you know, it is what it is.
It is.
They give them so much prop and protection and everything, and this been done to us so long that it's like a norm for us when it ain't.
Well, most of the people that is in our legislation believe that some say they having a large amount of them say the Democrat going to say, well, we haven't done enough. And a lot of Republicans say we have done way too much. Until we have set a system that will help us emotionally, mentally, and assist us to get out of the rock pool and the protection that we need to be able to do the things. Because every time we build a system, every time we build up a town,
they destroy us.
It destroys somebody. They come up with a law. They do it legally or illegally. It's destroyed.
Yeah,
and a lot of people today is still dealing with that.
Yeah,
Even that they didn't live with it, and they doesn't realize that it's down trauma, generational trauma,
right.
that been taught you how to act a particular way. I have another voice.
So let me say this right quick. Especially about Mississippi, because you know we joked about it, but this is some serious stuff. To ratify the 13th Amendment failed in 1865. That's like 130 years later in 1995 is when it was ratified again, because someone in a whole nother state saw that we hadn't freed the people in Mississippi. That's why I said a joke. I always tease my brother because I was born free. He wasn't. And then, you know, it was like a tease, but this is some serious stuff. What if they had decided to reintroduce all this craziness back in, and then you back in involuntary servitude, as they want to call it, or slave? But this was something that it took 130 years to get cleared. That's about us, and we did nothing about it, knew nothing about it, because like they said, you put it in a book, you ain't got to worry about them.
Right.
But it took somebody in another state, do you hear me, to see this in the legislation system of Mississippi, gave them the paperwork on how to get it ratified, and got it ratified.
Right. And remember, in the movie, what did he say? She said, what is this one? He said, knowledge. We need to gain as much knowledge we can and improve on it. Just being good. I was a good student in school, but doesn't make it good enough. So a lot of people say I'm a good man, But that ain't good enough. I always working every day to get better because it's not good enough. We need to stop selling just because it's if you're selling, you get sold where you just getting by. And a lot of us seeing that we are just getting by and we settle with it. Just like a lot of people on a plantation.
Right. So let me tell y'all this also. Even though I said this happened, it was 130 years later. It was a Texas legislator clerk named Gregory Watson who discovered this and realized, and so he notified the black members of Mississippi legislature and sent them a draft of the resolution on this. And so they had to take it to a vote and everything. So that was in 1994, and a whole nother year later, it became, as we say, the abolish of the slavery. It happened. But then look at this. I'm gonna tell you, if you wanna hear, we don't care about you in a loud voice. This is what happened next. Mississippi, the state officials failed to send the necessary documentation to the Federal Register, so the ratification was not formally filed as required until 20 years later in 2012. Two Mississippi residents discovered that this was not official, and so they notified the Secretary of State. So it was February the 7th in 2013 when this became legally documented. Do you not hear the screams of "we don't give a F about you" and anything that you do?
Right. But until we get involved with the legislation like we should be, and watching what's going on, and have a viewpoint and hold these people accountable. You may not, and one of the things that most persons we got to realize that each state have their own president, and we don't realize it. We doesn't realize it because the United States cannot be the United States until the state, and the president is just one of the president of the United States, and his peer is the governors.
Yeah.
So we must learn how this system work and take advantage of the system. Yes, they're going to change the rules and laws and stuff. That's just like any cheater play any game. They're going to come up with a whole different set of rules. And you should know that in this game. Yeah. If you want to play the game, we got these rules and you're going to change the rules. So I'm going to be watching how you play the game. If you change the rules, well, we changed the rules. So we need to respond and find different avenue. If they got a think tank, we need to have a think tank. And Alice think tank was Pam Grier. Even that we talk of see the blackation of in the movie. Even if you watch the movie, even you wasn't that involved, that somehow the music moves you. It excites you. And that's one of the powerful things that the music back in those days that had a meaning. Even the hairstyle she wore in the movie had a meaning behind it. Not like today. Today when I look at an afro, I look at it as confusion. We had style. You got a style to your afro. I don't know what style, but you got a style. But we had a meaning, and we wore it with pride. So, y'all who don't know what that means, read. Because there's a lot of things we are missing out.
It up a little bit.
All right. There's a lot of things that we need to read about in our history.
So y'all, just a little tip for y'all to know all about us or not. I know when something happened in December the 3rd, 21, across Georgia. I guess not. Well,
Yeah, it was
Channel
not
2
when the last
news. It was 24.
the
24.
Oh yeah, they passed
So what now?
the bill.
No.
Was that when they passed
That's not
all
what
the?
I'm talking about. No, this is what I'm talking about. 24 charges were forcing immigrants. 24 charges were brought across because they were forcing immigrants into a modern day slavery in Waycross, Georgia. These people for years they took these immigrants and be paid farm laborers. They were going on threats of deportation. They were cramped in trailers, food or clean water. They were promised to get $12 an hour, and they only got paid 20 cents per filled bucket, and they had me checking on them.
sound like that
And they
P
said
field while
that
you
2
was
people
working.
died. Huh?
I said it sounded like that P field I worked in.
Probably so.
I said,
and they said 2 people died and a person was raped repeatedly in this incident. But that was just what? Last year. Almost a whole year. And it's still going on. Didn't say where these immigrants were, which I get that. They're not going to tell you all of that. But 100 law officers and federal agents was working on this case. And they focused on the Aikens, Coffee, Tatnall, Toombs, and Ward counties. So it was a big operation, people, and it's still in my conversation about how they, even to this day, children are being brought into the United States. That's in the San Diego Union Tribune. They had the long article, and you know what? And what's so sad and sickening, even though some people say, "Oh, people from Africa, they're not people like us." You know, it's like they try to differentiate, like we're separate. Black is black. I don't care where it comes from. It can come from Europe. You still black. So even with that being said, these people were taking their nieces or taking their other people's kids and bringing them over and making them slaves in their homes. One girl was and she was forced to take her aunt's daughter. She was brought over just to do. Another little girl, this man got 14 years for, brought her over, and she was only 12 years old for her to be a maid in his house. You know, we were discussing it, and I said, you know, a lot of people be like, oh, you know, but they love them. Yeah, I ain't gonna say, you know, I know there's some real nice white families out there, but you know, you hear about it, but you hear anything about prosecution. Just like they didn't prosecute them people. When I tell you, I stayed up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I know that's why I couldn't sleep. It wasn't that I couldn't sleep. It was that I was looking because I wanted to know had the man got prosecuted. They didn't prosecute them people. And if they did, somebody sent it to me so I'll know, because I couldn't find it. I looked it up all kind of ways of trying to find out if they prosecute these people for having these black people as slaves up until 1973. And then nothing happened. And same thing with Mississippi. Till the 1960s, nobody was prosecuted. But this black man from Cameroon did this to his niece. I mean, not his niece, but to his little black girl, and he gets 14 years. Quite amazing.
If you think about it, the worst what they use, that nobody was told you couldn't leave, but you beat me every time I told you.
I almost said my choice words, and I'm trying to learn how not to use those choice words. Don't push my buttons. Don't do it. But I mean, but these are kids, and people are using kids into forced labor.
Mm.
It doesn't make sense. Petronella said Huey Newton. I don't know what that means. And then she said, I think I saw a movie like that. But yeah, but they do that. They was at one point, you don't hear about it as much, but there are people who adopt kids and put them as slaves. I wish I knew. Oh, that's not you. I'm sorry, Huey Newton. I don't know who Huey Newton is. Okay. But they have people who adopt kids again, like I said, and there's a slavery. You purchase a black child or another kid that's not white, and this is what you do. You lie to parents, and all over there, like the Asians, in the it's it happened in Africa. They even oh y'all, this was funny, but it ain't funny. They had a black market going on Instagram in everybody's face. They knew how to use choice words. They knew how to say the things that they need to say. And these girls were taken from their areas, whether they was in Africa, Asia, they and going to the Persian Gulf. Someone was put to Europe. Someone was sent to Dubai. But these girls were taken and they will be put away after they got them, telling them they can get them a job. And then they will lock them up. And then whoever was the highest bidder got the girl. They got to see the pictures of them and everything. And they knew the code words and everything to that. Look it up. It's in there. Black Market, Instagram. And they had over 200 different profiles. Someone said, power to the people, the black fist. That's Logan made Huey B. Newton. Okay. Okay. But we can still go on and on and on about this, but this is about awareness. We got to stop walking around here like my grandmama, my big mama used to say, stop walking around here sleep. And I'm like, I'm not sleeping. When I was a kid, I used to say, I'm not sleeping. What she mean by that? We walk around here, a lot of us, the majority of black people walk around here sleep. That's got to stop.
Yes.
It's got to stop.
Definitely.
I understand, like I told my dad the other day, you can't wake everybody up. Some of them are meant to be walking dead. And I know that's a mean thing to say, but when you fight against everything that somebody is telling you because it's not feeling right inside of you, that don't mean it's wrong. That means that something inside of you is struggling to comprehend and understand, but you fighting against it. So you gotta sometimes, I used to be that way when it comes to certain movies I didn't want to watch or whatever. And now I watch almost everything but those doggone chick flicks. I do not like them. So anyway, it's time for my 2 cents. Alois.
I am appalled. I mean, stuff down here in the night, and I know it, but we need to come together as black people, read and talk about it, and come to us. We got to come together because the world gonna get wicked and wicked, and it's getting wicked about it. They coming, they can take control of everything. You can see it. It's not closed door no more. It's open eyes. So open your eyes and see things clearly, because they're not for us. They're for themselves. We the only black people that don't stick together, don't be accountable for what we do. We do not communicate. We need to start communicating better and just come as being jealous and envy of each other. Because I think that's why our main problem is. We need to learn how to come and do the right thing and open our eye, because it's a lot of laws has already been in effect by a book like by this thick. And I have seen it. And we need to wake up. I know someone's not gonna wake up, but we need to wake up. As a black people, we need to learn how to get together, and a lot of you people need to watch the movie, Allison, and other movies out there. They got it right in our face. They showing us, and they doing it right in our face. We are like don't want to do nothing about it, but we need to come together as one, united. So that's my 2 cents.
Pat, get your 2 cents ready. I know you got it. Logan.
My 2 cents never equals 2 cents. Sorry.
That's okay.
Concerned about that.
Take $1 change.
My dialect is not going to change, but
I said we'll take $1 and some change.
Oh, okay. There go that communication error.
Yep.
Even that, the movie is a move. It's a movie, and Kiki Shepard and Comet, they did a fantastic job.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, it shows a lot of issues we face today, and we have to recognize that those things and systems that be in place, and we want things to change. We got to stop closing our eyes and not seeing it, because a lot of people want one thing, what you were searching, and we still searching for freedom. You find a person that is on drugs, they want to escape from reality or wherever they bother them, or escape from the problem, but they deal with them. Even when we doing other things or doing things, a lot of time to bring a change in our life, that we looking for freedom. Even this age, I have an ancient aching for my ancestry. I want to be free. Because my freedom to stay in the bed as long as I want to. My freedom to have enough money to do what I want to do. My freedom to provide for my family for generation and generation. And that's what she wanted. Kiki Shepard. Alice. That's what she wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Alice. She wanted freedom. Even the comments had the freedom. If you notice that he was taking a back step because of what he's seen. As Pat said, it was wonderful in him to go back in the hospital, and be wonderful for us to go back to the ones and show them that was come. Yes, she was a modern day Truman, Harriet Truman. She came back to save who she could save. He changed his mind and had a plan. And it was a better plan than he had, because he brought Bag up. Figure out how to bring Bag up, because they want to try to take it. Because if you notice, one of the things that Sister Sonya Logan said, that we are for that white man, and they would have been on his side and took them down. And a lot of our people, that when we stand up for you, and probably why I don't stand up as much as I do what I used to do, because I found out I had to fight more of my people to get them free than they were actually worth it. And still, we're trying to teach even our father that you can't free everybody. I had to realize, can't free everybody. Everybody ain't meant to be free, because they want to stay where they at. And complain. And complain. Sit on the couch and complain.
Yeah.
I'm going to land my plane, because I say I promised them I would not change my dialect and go in my rant phase.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Tonight. Yeah, I'll take the $1 and some change of what you had to say, but no rant. No rant. Petronella said, pay it forward help your sister or your brother, educate your sister or your brother. If you know someone that is asleep, wake them up. Girl, if you only knew. And then she said,
Sometimes it's dangerous to wake up a sleepwalker.
yep.
Yes.
She also said, we are all looking for freedom, financial freedom, physical freedom, emotional freedom, spiritual freedom. Yeah, all of that. Everybody's looking for that. Um, yep, that's what she said. And that was Patronella's 2 cents. Um, y'all know I try to keep reading the King James version, but they changed this Bible so much. Um, this is what I'm gonna say. John 15:19 said, if ye were of the world would love his own. But because you are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hates you.
True.
That's what we live in today. If you understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not of this world, and some people don't get, they consider it a mock, as if it's a time, because you want so much. My father is a lover of people, his people. He used to be the president of the NAACP. And so, but he had to make a choice between his people and his children because of some things that was said. But he went to bat for his own, and I appreciate and honor that with him.
Yes.
Because my father is not of this world. My dad is a man of that was before his time. And because of that, I know my brothers and I have, watched him, and we got a lot of understanding just by watching, listening, and knowing. And we wouldn't be the people we are today. But even with that being said, I still feel like the ones who's woke or waking up, grab them, teach them, and those who are ignorant to the game and want to complain, I ain't dragging nobody nowhere, kicking and screaming. I'm gonna meet you where you at. If you slap my hand, I'm gonna leave you there, and you better pray I come back to get you. Otherwise, what'll end up happening is that I'm gonna let you climb that little mountain to get where I'm at, and then I'll get your hand. Because sometimes the best lesson is the suffrage for you to get out your own bondage than somebody doing it for you for free.
Amen.
So with that
I
being
agree.
said, um, because I know I love me some me, I love me some you. And if respect is no longer being served, get your butt up and get off that table, because we ain't got time for that. We trying to go into a unity of love, of waking up our people to understand that we got to come together, because there's going to come a time when we come together that we got to execute some things and make some things happen. And I used to, because I have this control thing going on. Don't mind me, and don't judge me for it. But I had to learn, and it took me all these years to learn that I needed a village and I need people around me to help me execute, because I don't know everything. Even though I always say I do, I don't. I only know what I know. And so, but
You are
I,
hospitality.
whatever.
Yeah.
But I only know what I know. And so, but I do know now, and I'm willing to lead, to give out a little bit more of my control and not hold on. And it's hard, Lord knows it's hard, in order to get things executed. But I would love to have a mastermind sitting with some very intellectual Black people, and to trying to figure out, where do we start? How do we get other people to come together? Not just building, because we got to set the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Once the foundation is set, then we can start building on walls. And we need people that, as the ones who are building the walls, you got the ones checking to see if there's any open spaces or if something failed, and either they tell us about it or they fix it. But we have to entrust that they're gonna fix it. If we see that they don't, then they gotta go. I'm sorry,
Mm-hmm.
because time is of the essence. And so, once I get that together where we can have a meeting of the minds, I would love to have anyone who, that feels the way that we feel about coming together, because communication and understanding And Escape said it best. If you don't know what I mean by understanding, go listen to that song, because we need that from each other. Understanding. We got to communicate. So, so we can be better as for our relationships, whether it's personal or if it's benefiting in a business. So we got to get that understanding together, because there's no other way. Communication, understanding, agree to disagree. That's all we need. And again, every Wednesday we're on 7 p.m. We're going into a new things I'm getting excited about and everything. And next week is random discussion. Um, Anyone who has something that they want us to talk about, DM me or call me if you got my number. Um, but we're gonna have some random discussions about Black people, because we Black. What else we gonna talk about?
Can't get in trouble talking about black people because we black.
Exactly. um, and y'all don't forget, the holidays is coming on. We have KTB Unlimited. We call them the Black Basies. If you don't know their website, I'll log it in. They got some excellent products, colognes, perfumes, oils, toothpaste, herbal remedies. You might want to go check them out for the holidays. Check them out. Check them out. I mean, I like my Black Macy's. I like Macy's
Okay.
for my needs, you know. And I went on and started using all natural toothpastes. You ain't got to worry about that fluoride, so
Yes.
get it done. And ladies, before I end this, ladies, I'm going to give a link about, and I know some of y'all might not have heard, and hopefully you have heard, that they have a lawsuit that's out here that's dealing with L'Oreal and other companies that they found out that there were carcinogenics in the relaxers that we were using. And a lot of women have ended up with ovarian cancer, the cancers of the sexual reproduction system, and even endometriosis. That's something that I have. So if you need the link, go to the group and tell me you need the link, and I'll put it there where you'll be able to contact this lawyer to talk to him, and I'm gonna see if I can get him on, because I think it's something that we need to talk about as well. Because
I believe we do, because there's been a lot of changes in black products that once was black and got big finance, and they changed the product and how it handled us.
they always do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it should be known that when you have Black owned products, that you thinking it's still Black owned, and it's owned by these companies. There, I can't think of the name of it right now, but he's big on that. When he sees that there's a Black company that's the focal of the people are buying, he comes in and he buys them out, make them a millionaire, and he buys it. And I can't think of his name right now, but I will look it up and I'll make sure. I think that's what we need to talk about. But I'm gonna see if I can get him to see if I can get him on so we can talk about that too. So I'm gonna have to be in a rush to do that and see what his time frame. It might not be on the winds, but it don't matter. Whenever I can get him on, we're gonna get him on. So we can discuss that. But yes, if you don't know, look it up, or I said I'll give you the link if you need it. Just DM me or whatever. However we contact, however we talk, that's what we do. But anyway, like I said, love yourself enough to leave the table if respect is no longer being served. And we're on every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Love you. We're out.
Peace.